morning. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach, then we'll jump into questions. As a reminder, use the raise your hand feature, or if that's not working for you, please text me. Thank you.
All right, you ready to roll? Okay. All right. Kansas State game. I'm proud of our players, for how they responded coming out of halftime. We really challenged them at halftime. Thought we came out and played well and got the game, 11 minutes to go in the game, 21-17, and we're up. The plan to win is going well. We're winning. We didn't finish the game. The last 3 drives on offense, the last 3 drives on defense, and in a game like that, that's what it comes down to. The 2 biggest keys for us is to win the turnover margin, which we did not do, and to win special teams, and we did not do that either. Those were the 2 things internally that we had talked about all week, especially the last 3 or 4 days. We failed to do that. We got beat in the turnover game 1-0. The kicking game cost us. We missed 2 red zone field goals, and we got a punt blocked. And we all know the percentages of winning a football game when you get a punt blocked. Credit to them. It was a lack of execution on our part and something that I was a little surprised that happened. But we will get that fixed, and we will get that corrected this week. I'll say this. I believe in our coaches. I believe in our plan. And I wholeheartedly believe in our players. Our guys are bought in. Our guys are together. A ton of guys in the building yesterday, early this morning, ready to roll and to continue to keep fighting. And so that's what we want to be. But we understand that it's a results-oriented business. I don't need to be reminded of that. I know that. Our players know that, and our coaches for sure know that. But I'm proud of our players and the resiliency and the fight that they continue to show. They're with us, and they're believing in the plan. And I will say this, our time's coming. I know that. Our time is coming, and this team will continue to battle, and good things are on the horizon for this team. Looking ahead at Iowa State, coming off 2 big wins, 2 close game wins against TCU on the road and against Oklahoma last week or Saturday night at home. And Matt Campbell's done a really nice job in the program. I have a ton of respect for he and his staff, the continuity, the success that they've had. And I know they've won some big games. They beat some ranked opponents. They continue to be a model of consistency in this league, toughness, good defense. I think their lines are always strong. A quarterback that is experienced and I do think established in this league. He's won close games. He's got a lot of moxie. He's very accurate. And, tight ends, good gosh. I mean, they got 3 of them that are 6'7". They present matchup and personnel challenges for every defense every single week because they can flex out and they can give an 11 personnel or 12 personnel formation with 13 personnel in the game. That's maybe what we'll look like here in a few years with some of the kids, that are coming into the program and that we've got right now. But we're a little ways away from that. But that presents a challenge. And then that's Iowa State. And, again, a lot of respect for Coach Campbell and that staff, what they've done. It's something that I think as coaches, as a coach coming into a new program, you look at and you say that's who we need to be like because of the consistency and the toughness and the things that they do. And I believe that we will get there, and that's something that, from a coaching standpoint, when you flip the tape on, you got a lot of respect for them. That started last year when we faced them for the first time and continues now until today. So with that, we'll go ahead and open it up. And, Don, I'll give you the first question, even if you haven't raised your hand yet.
I want to talk about special teams a little bit. The punt block the last couple of weeks, what was those diagnoses on what happened there? Is that an operations time thing? You're just not blocking it, or what have you done wrong?
Well, you won't just take not blocking it for an answer because you'll have a great follow-up question. So I've already addressed last week's block. I'll address this week. The operation was a little bit slow, and we did not block the edge rusher in the shield. And that's the bottom line. We need to put 2 hands on the guy instead of 1 hand. And when you don't do that, a guy like that young man made a nice play. He made a nice individual play. We did not put two hands on him. We need to. And that the bottom line is those two things happen. If those two things don't happen, it's not a block.
And regarding Trey in the kicking game, I remember way back after last season, Coach Tomerdahl said that one of the things he really liked about Trey was the ability to let the last kick be the last kick and put that behind him and focus on what was ahead, not be bothered by a miss. Have you get him back on track mentally, or is mentally an issue, or is there something mechanically that he needs to adjust, do you think?
Yeah, Don, I think it's probably a little bit of both. We need to find that one little thing mechanically. I think it's kind of like a golfer when the timing's not exactly right. You can allow multiple swing thoughts to go through your head. Is it my grip? Is it my stance? Where is it in my stance? Push it back a little bit, play a little bit more off the front toe. You know, is it the takeaway? Is it something up here at the top of the swing? Is it the follow through? I mean, that's way too many. For those of us that are average golfers, that's way too many. Even the good golfers, I think that's too many. And I'm sure that happens with a lot of kickers. But mechanical, get him the confidence that we need, and we'll move through it together.
Go to Eric Kelly.
And Matt, I know you mentioned it on the teleconference, but just so we have it here on video.
You already got the answer. I'm just kidding. Relax. I'm just kidding. Jeez. I knew you were going to ask me again, even though everybody already heard it on the teleconference. Nothing's broke. Nothing's fractured. He's day to day.
And with that knowledge, do you redistribute reps at all at that position this week?
Well, if he doesn't practice today, then got to. It's day to day.
Go to Jarrett Johnson.
Staying with the quarterbacks, is Bowman, if he's healthy, assuming he's ready to go, is he the starter, or has Columbia shown you enough to where maybe he's kind of moved up the ladder a little bit?
I think Henry did a nice job in coming in. It started a little slow. The timing in terms of pulling it down to run was a little quick, Jarrett, early in the game. I think he got off some of the primary receivers a little early in the game, but you could really see him get into the flow of the game. The cool thing about it is we didn't change our game plan. We kept rolling with it, and Henry handled a lot of stuff for the first time live at Texas Tech. He handled a lot of stuff on his plate that Coach Yost gave him. Third downs, different checks, run game to pass, changing protection, changing routes. He did a really nice job. And as he got comfortable, his confidence grew, his production improved, and the guys around him started making plays. And I think that's the key to playing quarterback is you've got to, the guys around you have got to play well, but you got to do something to elevate their performance. Alan Bowman is our starter. He won the job. He's played well. And Henry played very well in relief of him. We'll make that decision based on Alan's health as we go through the week. But to answer your question directly, yeah, Henry impressed a lot of people in this complex. His teammates, his coaches. I've had confidence in him since the day I recruited Henry Columbia, and I'm proud of that young man. And the transition he's made here to Lubbock has been really smooth, and he's done a really nice job, not only in learning the offense and kind of relearning the offense, but in the things that have changed, as well as becoming a good teammate and investing himself in his teammates. And I think that showed. And again, you got to play well around a new quarterback. When you bring a new quarterback in, you've got to play around him. I think that's a credit to Kansas State. You saw Deuce Vaughn play well. You saw 4 and 13 and 0 play well around a backup quarterback at Kansas State. You saw a defense play well. That's the recipe for success when you have to put a backup quarterback in. And I think Kansas State showed that. I think we showed that. We just didn't finish the game with him.
Go to Sean Dillon.
Hey, Coach, after looking at the film, talk about Xavier White, how he's performed, and what he needs to do to continue to get touches.
Well, I think he's going to continue to earn touches. It's not getting touches. He'll earn them. He earned them in practice. He earned them to be able to be really the second back behind Sir Roderick. He did a nice job in the game. Needs to get his pads down or he's going to get knocked out of a game. Although targeting may not get called, but he'll get really hit hard. And he does need to protect himself. So I think he'll continue to earn touches. I think the things that Xavier does well is he's smart. He's good in pass protection. He catches the ball extremely well out of the backfield. The ability to play receiver here, which that's what he was as an H before. I think we have confidence with him catching the ball out of the backfield, and you saw that. Henry got to him, albeit a little quick a couple times, but he got to him, and he made plays with the ball in space. So he'll continue to do that. I think the other two backs, Taj and Chadarius, have bright futures. They've got to continue to earn those in practice, and we continue to find roles for everybody. And it's just a little harder at running back with only one back there.
Go back to Don.
Hey, spare me your wrath for just a moment, but on Allen, can you say, is it his ankle, his foot?
Yeah, ankle.
Ankle. Okay.
The wrath.
Well, it's an injury question. So, but he doesn't have COVID. So.
Correct. And I thought your wrath. I thought you were taking a shot at Sallisaw, Oklahoma. Man, the grapes of wrath, went through Sallisaw. I didn't know if that was a shot at that. I know you're a history buff, and so I thought you may have actually known that, and you were waiting on something time like this, Don.
I don't know my Steinbeck that well now. I'm sorry.
That's impressive that you knew that.
I got that by osmosis somehow from some English class 40 years ago. Actually, I'm going to pass. Go to Jarrett. I lost my train of thought.
Go back to Jarrett.
Don Williams has never been thrown off. I got him with the grapes of wrath. Jarrett.
It's hard to follow that up. I have kind of a serious question after that. This is kind of the question in my opinion. Last season the overview was all the close losses, and then of course coming off those two tough losses where you had fourth quarter leads. I guess my question is, what do you do to overcome that? How do you get over that hump? Because that seems to be the question surrounding this program right now.
Yeah. Well, Jarrett, there's no magic fairy dust. There's not a certain pregame dance or a certain pregame song you do. You got to continue to grind. You got to continue to believe in the plan and the process throughout the week, how you practice, how you eat, how we go to sleep, how we lift weights. And the thing that's inspiring to me is the response by our players. And in the building yesterday, in the building today. Jarrett, you're not going to change the culture and flip around a program from the last whatever years that's been average and inconsistent and a bowl game here, a bowl game not there, and all that. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put it to the upper half of the league and compete for a Big 12 championship in the month of November, and you do not do it overnight in football. You don't have 85 initials every single year. You can't turn a roster over like basketball. You can't turn a roster over every year like baseball. It's different. And so the thing that we have to do is continue to recruit. You've seen the first full recruiting class, playing well right now through 3 games. I'm proud of them. The development of guys. Rico Jeffers' development in a year and a half, I can't say enough about his leadership and the things that he's bringing right now into our locker room. Very, very proud of him. Jack Anderson, his leadership, his play. He's played the best 2 games he's played since he's been a Texas Tech Red Raider. Ask him. And so those are the things that I continue to draw strength from, Jarrett. And I understand the close losses, and that was the deal last year. And I understand the last 2 weeks. But the thing is we're going to coach to win and we're going to play to win. And I think you saw that. The 3rd and 6th, they caught us in a personnel group at the last play. But if we sit back and just play cover 2 or Tampa 2 or 3 double cloud and let them rush for a first down with a little 2:19 on the clock, they're going to take a knee. At 2:04, you can take 4 straight knees and bleed the clock out. And we don't touch the ball again. And so we were going, bent for leather a little bit right there on the last play. and we're going to try to force a punt and go down and tie it with a field goal, win it with a touchdown. But, it's no one, when we took this job over, no one inside this building thought it was an overnight we're going to roll the ball out and win games. And it's tough in this league, and this league is very, very competitive. You see, the Sooners, who have been in the college football playoff, 4 straight years? Maybe 4 straight championships? Yeah, they're 0-2 in this league, and Texas could be 0-2. We could be 2-0. We're not. We're 0-2 as well. And so it's just, you see Iowa State is 2-0 right now in the league, and it's come down to 2 last couple minutes of the game wins by them. We're close. And I will say this, our time is coming. Our time is coming. Don't interrupt me, Daddy. I'm not done yet. All right? I believe in this program. I believe in this plan to win, and I believe in these players and the way that they continue to come in here and grind and work, and we continue to recruit the right way and develop our guys the right way. To develop that competitive depth, you have to have very, very little attrition in a program. That wasn't the case the 3 years before we got here. There were a lot of guys and a lot of holes in terms of numbers. You got to build your numbers up in this sport, and for competitive depth because of injuries and things that happen throughout the course of a season. I'm so proud of our guys. I'm proud of where we're at. Am I pleased and happy? No, because I wanted to be 3-0, and I fully expected to be 3-0. I fully expected to walk in and beat Texas. I fully expected to go into Manhattan and win, and so did everybody else in this program that got on the plane to Manhattan. We believed to win, that we were going to win. And we're going to believe that we're going to win going into Ames this week against a program that is very, very good and very established, and we have a lot of respect for. But internally, there's a lot of belief here, Jarrett, and I do believe that we got to keep grinding. We got to keep knocking on the door, and at some point that door's going to open, and hopefully we don't just stick our little toe in there and stop the door. We slam the door wide open and throw it open. And I do believe our time's coming, though. I got a great belief and faith in that.
Go to Matt Clare.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for the time. We've talked about special teams, talked about the quarterback. All those are pretty obvious. But the first road game, put up 0 points. What did you see, during the game? What are your thoughts after watching the tape? What happened there with the offense in the first half?
5 possessions, 2 missed red zone field goals, replace a quarterback. One of the possessions started a little slow with the new quarterback. Halftime went that fast, and we knew that going in. It reminded me, back in the day of playing Air Force, when you play a team that's going to run the ball and they're going to huddle up and they're going to snap it under 5 seconds every single time and bleed the clock. You understand that possessions are precious and they're limited. When you play a team like Kansas State and we allowed a 98-yard drive, 3rd and 10 scramble by Skyler, a face mask, another 3rd down long conversion. Should have been 7-6 at halftime. If you remember back last year, I think, Don, the score was maybe 6-3. We faked a punt right before halftime. They stopped us right on the logo, and then we held them to 3 and out, and they missed a really long field goal, I think. But I think it was like 6-3, something like that. Really low-scoring, non-Texas Tech looking halftime score, and so was this week. But Matt, I don't think it was simply any more than that. We missed 2 red zone field goals, and we had, I think, 3 other possessions. And I know that the first one with when Allen was in there, we got a touchdown, and then, we got a first down, and then I think punted after 4 snaps, and I think we had another 5-play series that we got another first down in, and then just bogged down, and we were a little slow starting, but the 2 red zone field goals would have certainly made it look different, and then you come out in the 3rd quarter and you score, and it's 14-14, So no explanation, no excuse, but just a little slow starting and very limited possessions.
Sure, thanks, Coach. And then
Yep.
real quick, I know we've talked about a lot of things here, and you mentioned Deuce sort of had a good game. But what about your freshman? I thought you had a couple guys that stood out.
Yeah, I thought Miles Price played well. First extended action, 40-some plays. He'll continue to to play and have a legit role. Loic Fungi with his first catch as a Red Raider, and pretty good one, memorable. I mean, a 4th and 3 conversion on a slant route, and his better days are ahead of him. He'll continue to play. I know Joel's real pleased with him. Jalen Polk continues to play well, another true freshman wideout. Trey's technically a redshirt freshman, but him, and so those young guys are playing well. I'm proud of them.
Go to Phil Mayer.
Hey, Coach. So your first road game last week, back on the road this week. In a post-COVID world, how different did it feel playing on the road?
Yeah, a little different. Not as many fans in the stands. N95 mask on the plane. That was a little different, a little weird. Other than those two things, really not much difference. The home field advantage, as we've mentioned on these calls before and press conferences, is minimized this year. Certainly, they have a really good game day home field, advantage in Manhattan and those students. And their students were loud. You could hear what would have been really, really loud crowd. The acoustics in there seem loud. I've heard that since I've been the head coach here, that it's a tough place to play. But same thing with here in Lubbock. It kind of gets minimized just with the numbers in the crowd.
Go to David Collier.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned it earlier about Iowa State's tight ends and kind of wanting to be on that level. How did you think it seemed like that was probably one of the better tight end games for you guys. How do you think Kuntz and Holcomb handled that, and what do you want to see from them to improve on that moving forward?
Yeah, I think Travis played well. He really did. He made some good catches. I think he just needs to clean up some of his route running, some of his technique with his footwork, and he'll continue to do that well. John Holcomb's, probably, pretty transparent. Not as good on the perimeter as I thought he would be, and a lot better in the box as an inline tight end than we kind of thought he would be. And so John is smart. He can run. He catches the ball well. And, John's another true freshman that, he'll continue to get playing time. He's the number 2 tight end, and he's playing about a third of the game.
Coach, you had also mentioned Purdy, and obviously knowing how effective he has been there at Iowa State. Can you, talk about what Breece Hall brings to the team? Obviously, he had a pretty good bowl game a year ago, and not just against you, against a lot of teams in the Big 12.
Yeah, he played well against us here in Lubbock last year. He played good in the bowl game. He played well against Oklahoma Saturday night. First thing I noticed, actually noticed it when I got on the plane, and it was on the, it was on the TV in the plane. I said, Breece is bigger. Quarantine treated him well, and he's got to be 15 pounds heavier. Doesn't look like he's lost a step. He's fast. He's got some home run speed. He's one of the better backs in this league, if not right there at the top. The guy is really good. He's a talented young man, Wichita kid. I got a lot of respect for him. I thought he played well against us last year, and so he's got the attention of everybody in this building, trust me.
Go back to Eric Kelly.
Coach, 2 for you. You mentioned first Rico's leadership. What did you learn about your linebackers and maybe the defense as a whole without Rico for most of that game?
Yeah, I played well. Kind of like the offense, I thought played well until the last 3 drives of the game. We've already detailed that earlier here. But those linebackers continue to get better. Outside of Rico, there's not any of them really that have any extensive Texas Tech experience. Randall is getting better. Schooler will get better. Krishawn Merriweather continues to play well, and he'll get better. Kosai played a lot more in Rico's absence, but in response to that, we have to play. Whether it's an injury, it's a targeting, it's a COVID, a guy's down. We're going to need to play on both sides of the ball without one of our leaders or one of our better players at times, and we need to play well around them. And the other guys around them need to play well for the guy that's coming in and taking his job. But I think our backers are a strength of our defense, and they'll continue to get better.
And you mentioned the size of those tight ends. Kolar was one who had a really good game against you guys last year. How do you defend a guy when he's just bigger than you?
I'll just pray the whole time.
We'll go to Jarrett and then Don to close.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned recruiting earlier, so I thought I'd ask you a question I've been wondering. With this blanket waiver allowing, perhaps several seniors to come back for next season, how has that changed the way you're recruiting this 2021 class? And I know you don't like to talk about numbers, but I mean, just in general, has that changed your approach?
Yes, Jared, it has, and it will throughout the next, probably 2 months, maybe 3 months, but 2 months. There are conversations really that I think a couple that I know that are probably coming back that's just flat said, yeah, Coach, I'm coming back. And I'm talking about seniors for us. I think there's a few more that have given indications. But those are, just in respect to the season because we're kind of right in the grind and kind of got blinders on. We all do right now. Those will be conversations we start up and have in December, and so that'll help us more. But in some spots, yes, it could affect numbers. And not could, it will. It'll affect some numbers in terms of we don't need another blank, whatever that position is, because we have more coming back for another year that we thought. The other thing that it may change is that guy, an old guy that we've begun to call him around here, a JC or a grad transfer, or is it another freshman we can develop? And so that also could change, maybe not the number at position, Jarrett, but which type of guy you're looking for.
All right, we'll go to Don to finish up.
Okay.
I'll just follow up on that. So, ballpark, how many do you expect to sign in December?
Well, we have 25 initials every year, and so a couple of those guys were already counted in this year's roster, and so we won't have a full 25 brand new ones because some of them, like I said, some of them were counted in this year's roster. But depending on what we want to do, if we want to hold some for grad transfers in the late or JC qualifiers, maybe an academic qualifier that's late in May, we certainly could and will. So, to put a number on it right now is not really realistic, and it's going to change. It always changes, and you're not going to sign the full complement. We won't ever do that on signing day around here in December or that first Wednesday in February anyway, because we've shown to have success with grad transfers, and some of them come later in the spring, and some of them come in the summer, as we saw this year, and we've had success with it, and so we'll always hold a few.
Who are the couple of guys that you referenced that you have said they're for sure coming back?
I'm going to keep those conversations private. So out of respect to those guys, we're in the middle of the season right now. We'll announce those probably after the end of the regular season game, before a bowl game.
Iowa State defensively, what did they do that has made them so consistently good in a conference where defensive coordinators get lambasted on a weekly basis? What has Iowa State done? What does Coach Haycock do that has enabled him to have more success than a lot of people in his position in this conference?
Coach Haycock is he's a veteran that is, I got a lot of respect for. A lot of coaches do. Yeah, I think you see a model of consistency. He's identified early in that, that kind of regime there as Matt has turned it around that first year and a half. He identified who they were going to be, and he stuck to it. And you see different pressure packages, and you see a few new wrinkles every week. But what you see is a model of consistency with the 3 down, with the 5 DBs, the 3 safeties, the 3 backers. Believe it or not, they have a really good pass rush. They lead the Big 12 in sacks. The top 2 with 3.5 or 3 and 9, so they can get after the passer in a 3-man rush. They do pressure. It's not even 50%, but when they do, they come. They bring safeties. They pull guys out. But I think more than anything, they just know who they are. They're very fundamentally sound. They play with an edge to them. They play on the edge. They keep the edge of the defense. They play with their hands out on the perimeter. They're physical, and they recruit to that scheme, and they've had time to sit there and develop that scheme. And The consistency that they've done it with, I think, has led to success in recruiting, and so my hat's off to them in terms of the success they've had in developing that defense, recruiting to that defense, and coaching in that defense, and they've stayed the course, and it's proven out to be successful over time.
You mentioned a moment ago in passing when you were talking about Xavier, you said that targeting might not get called. Are there plays from Saturday on plays that were reviewed for targeting that you sent in to the conference yesterday or today to have them look at and give you a feedback on what the conference, what the head of officiating thought?
Yeah, Don, just as we all know, for clarification, all the targeting calls that are made in a game or a stoppage in the play to review a targeting call not only gets replayed in the stadium, but back at the headquarters too. So I have not talked to anybody from the Big 12 as of today, and we'll have a good professional conversation, and we'll learn how to coach our guys, and good or bad or right or wrong, and we'll all move on. So onward and upward with Iowa State.
All right. Thanks, Coach. We'll be back with players here in just a few minutes.
Okay.
All right, we'll start with questions for Mr. Berger, and we'll start with Eric Kelly.
Hey Josh, just can you take me through from an O-lineman's perspective, what's going through your mind when you see your starting quarterback go down?
I mean, it's a bad feeling. Obviously, you hate when that happens. And in Allen's case, it was a late hit. Obviously, I was blocking the guy. It's not a good look. It's not a good feeling. You wish you could have done more. It's just kind of how it is. It's just bad.
How do you think the offense kind of started to get going under Henry? Obviously, the first couple drives were a little hit or miss, but it seems like you guys really picked your rhythm, especially in that second half.
Yeah, for sure. Henry came in. I mean, like Coach Wells always says he didn't flinch. He stepped up and he did what he needed to do. And personally, I was really proud of him. The fact that he stepped up and took on that role, and he did a really good job. He went out there and balled out, and he put us in a position to win the game, and he kept us in the game the whole time. So I was really proud of Henry.
How do you think the offensive line has gelled through 3 games? Obviously, preseason was not exactly what you guys usually have. Probably pretty wonky guys coming in and out due to either COVID or things of that nature. So how do you think you guys are coming together as a unit?
I think we're coming together pretty well. I think pass protection's been pretty good. I think I heard this morning we were second in the nation. We've only given up 1 sack. And against Kansas State, we really established the run game for the first time this season, which was great because you got to run the ball to win the game, to win games, and I think we finally kind of caught that rhythm, and I think we're getting more comfortable with it, and we're going to keep working and keep getting better throughout the season.
Go to Don Williams.
Hey, Josh, the first couple of games, Sir Roderick had 100-plus yards rushing. So obviously y'all have run the football okay. What was it on Saturday that y'all kind of found that with Xavier that worked? It seemed like all those runs up the middle that he was popping again and again and again. Was that something that y'all had game planned? Saw something on video last week that you thought you could take advantage of, or is that something that just kind of it worked the first time and kept calling it?
Yeah. Well, first, Xavier, he's a great ball player. He did a great job on Saturday, and secondly, with the box, Kansas State's defense, we thought that there was a great opportunity to run the ball, and it's what we did. I mean, we just kind of went out there and did what we game planned to do, and it worked. So.
Also, Wyatt Hubert, number 56 from K-State, he has a great reputation based on what he's done the last couple of years. And Khalid Duke, number 29, was kind of an impressive athlete. How long an afternoon of work is it going against those two guys?
It was an afternoon for sure. They were both really good. Wyatt Hubert, even when I first got here, I was always told, he's the guy. He's one of the elite, premier DNs of the league, and I mean, he definitely proved he was. I think we did a good job. I think Ethan Carr did a great job, against them. In 29, he was good too. I mean, they had a really solid defensive line and the ends. I mean, they definitely, they made Saturday, a challenging game, and they showed up and played, some good football.
Go to Matt Clare.
Hey, Josh, you just touched on it a little bit, but coming in as the transfer, coming into the D1 level, you've got 2 Big 12 games under your belt now. You can just reference the K-State Russians, but how's that adjustment been? And, I guess how these first 2 games kind of prepares you for what's going to come the rest of the season at this level? It hasn't been a crazy difficult transition. I think probably the biggest thing for me is, coming from the FCS level, you have your more premier kind of elite guys, but it's not, a weekly basis type deal. There are good players that you play on a weekly basis, but not at this kind of level. So, just mentally and physically trying to prepare yourself week to week to play those guys and go out there and compete and do what you got to do. So I mean, it's been fun. That's what you want as an athlete. You want to play the best to see where you stack up against them.
All right, we'll go to Ronald Clark.
Going back to the run game, it seems like, at least in these conference games, you guys sort of gotten better as the game progressed, especially in that second half, really finding the rhythm for those long runs. Obviously, you had Sarajic in the first game against Texas, and then Xavier White this Saturday. Is that sort of, just you guys gelling over the game, or is that more so a little bit of a rope-a-dope where the pass game is going early and then you hit them with the run game later in the game?
No, I think it's just, we're starting to catch our rhythm with the run game. I think, again, we're starting to establish it more and more. I think we're getting more comfortable, running the ball more. And, I think, as an offensive line, collectively, we want to be able to go out there and run the ball because, running the ball is critical to win games, and we understand that, and that's something that we work on, all week, and we've been doing that, since OTAs. We've really, Coach Farmer's really been stressing the importance of, establishing the run game early and often. So,
go to Bill Mayer.
Coach Wells mentioned that Jack Anderson's playing his best football. What have you seen from him, and what can you sort of take from a guy that's playing at such a high level?
Yeah, Jack has been playing, some really, really good football. He had an incredible game on Saturday. As a guy that plays next to him, you wanna be able to, play at a high level to complement his ability and his playing. But just kind of the day in and day out, he's coming in, he's doing what he needs to do, and he takes care of business. And it's really fun and it's cool to be a part of it. Just because no disrespect to all the other guards I've ever played with, but he's the best guard I've ever played with, or so it's been fun. I'm just trying to get to the point where he is, and being able to be dominant, snap to snap like he has.
Go to Eric Kelly.
First of all, I think Aurora has had some pretty good guards. Secondly, you talked about how you guys are one of the best lines in terms of not giving up sacks. Now you go up against an Iowa State defense that's top 10 nationally in sacking the quarterback. Gave Spencer Rattler some issues on Saturday. What have you seen from what you guys have seen on tape from that D-line?
I actually haven't. I know that they run 3 down. I'm actually about to watch film after this meeting to get into it. We were watching the game this morning, but Coach Farmer was already starting to touch on it. Again, they got some really good DNs, and it's going to be a challenge. They go in and continue to protect the quarterback. Especially against the DNs. What they've been doing so far this year. So. But we're up for it. We're up for the challenge as an O line, so it's gonna be fun and exciting.
I'm curious, not to disrespect, visiting crowds you played for in high school and at the FCS level. Not exactly the Big 12 away crowd that you would have on a normal year, but what was it like to go through that first road experience in the Big 12 conference? It was really cool, to be honest. I had no complaints. Even with the reduced capacity, it's more people than I'm used to playing in front of. Obviously you had the payday game once a year at the FCS level, but I still go out there even against Kansas State. I mean, I was kind of like, damn, there are a lot of people out here. So it's cool. It's a fun environment. Being able to play in front of all those people. Even with the reduced capacity, but. It's once football starts, it's just that's what you focus on. You don't really focus on anything else.
All right, we'll finish with.
Have you had to change any of the way you guys, do snap counts and things of that nature with maybe that whack and noise that you would usually have, or is it pretty normal in terms of that?
Yeah, it's been normal. We haven't had to switch anything up yet. We haven't encountered a crowd yet that's been so loud. Maybe we have to go on a silent count or a clap, so it's been normal.
Go to Don Williams to wrap us up.
Josh, we didn't get an opportunity to talk to you last week, but I don't want to let this opportunity pass without giving you a chance to talk about your play against the Texas Longhorns last week. A lot of people were impressed to see a 295-pound guy chase down safety to save a touchdown. What kind of feedback did you get from that, and where did that sprinter speed come from?
Yeah, I had a lot of people reach out to me. Definitely didn't think going into the game I was going to get more compliments on chasing down an interception than blocking, but I don't know. I just went back to those high school days, the pursuit angles. I saw they picked it off, and I took that angle and just kind of started taking off, sprinting as fast as I could, and there was a little opening in that group of guys, and I just kind of dove and tackled them. So I was glad I was able to prevent a pick six. So it was cool.
When I throw that back in your meeting room, I assume you get some compliment for the hustle on that, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I did.
All right, we'll be back with Mr. Bradford here in just a few minutes. Thanks, Josh.
Appreciate it.
straight. I like the big one.
You like the big one? I like this one. Coach, I think Coach likes this one better.
Guess it's easier for him to see.
Well, you can see the. Yeah, no problem. Thanks, man. The we can lower the camera to where it's even. That's the biggest thing. All right, we'll start with questions for Tony, and we'll start with Eric Kelly.
Hey, Tony. First off, I guess looking at that Iowa State offense, one that was able to put up a decent amount of points on y'all last year. You got guys like Breece Hall and Brock Purdy. What makes them so difficult to defend?
To be honest, we haven't even started looking at Iowa State yet. We're still in the process of wrapping up and getting corrections with K-State. So I honestly don't know what to tell you about those guys, because those specific guys you just named, because I haven't looked at the charts or anything as of yet.
Then what was maybe the big correction that you guys took away from Kansas State, at least at the defensive line level?
What we took away is that we know we could play. We've been knowing that for the longest now, because honestly, there hasn't been since we've lost these two games, there hasn't really just been a team to just shut us out and to just really just defeat us. It's always, just the small mistakes that we've caused as players that just cost us points. And so we know as a D-line and as a defensive unit that if we just continue to just correct those little mistakes, man, it'll make a big difference in who we play and how we perform.
From your perspective, what is it going to take to finish one of those close games in a Big 12 contest? Obviously, you want a close one against Houston Baptist, but what is it going to take to finish off that tight Big 12 conference win?
Like I just said, just kind of continuing to just fix those small mistakes and having critical errors and mental errors and during the game, because during the days of practice, I mean, we fit everything up. We're aligned right. We're getting off the ball and everything perfectly. But then when we look at the corrections with our defensive coordinator, Coach KP, we just look at all the simple mistakes that cost us points, and that stuff just can't happen, especially in this conference, because as you can see, it's going to cost us. It's going to cost us games, and it's going to continue to cost us until we fix it.
Go to Matt Clare.
I can hit the unmute button. Hey, Tony. I know you just covered a lot there, but you're considered one of the leaders on the team, whether it's the locker room after the game, the trip home, or even going into this week. How do you lift the guys up and kind of erase the memory and head to Iowa State to play against the Cyclones?
By just reminding them that we're this close. We're this close to figuring out. We're this close to just getting it together as far as on all phases of the ball, because as you can see, we there's just mistakes on all three phases of the ball, and we're just so close to fixing them. And I remind guys every single day in the locker rooms, like, y'all, nobody can mess with us thus far right now. Like, when you watch these games and you look at the stats per quarter and per half and stuff, like, the numbers are super low I know, at least for the defensive side and stuff. It's just that numbers start rising up towards the end of the game when we just keep making those mistakes and stuff. And so I remind guys every day to take Monday seriously as we, finna get ready to go through the corrections and stuff to wrap up the K-State game. Take it seriously. Take Tuesday practice seriously, Wednesday, and so on until game day. And we just have to do a better job as a unit and as a team of just taking all the work that we've done in practice and just moving it to game day. Because when we do, man, watch out.
And then I guess kind of going this the backup quarterback came in the game. I know the defense doesn't change, but like as a pass rusher or even in the huddle, are you guys talking to each other and saying, all right, back to work? Are you thinking to yourself, I need to get after this guy? What's the mindset there?
Well, thinking like, man, go after him. He's fresh, probably hasn't taken snaps in a few games and stuff. Who probably wasn't expecting it to get into the game and stuff. And so when he gets in, you already know, he probably got his hands shaking and nervous. So we're just trying to get after him and just continue to put pressure on him and to, make him just make critical mistakes. That's the goal, at least.
Go back to Eric Kelly.
Tony, Tyree Wilson, what has he added to this unit?
Man, a guy that's 6'7", can't miss him. He stands out. He stands out like a sore thumb. And coming from SEC, we had to get him to get his alignments and stuff right, because he used to try to pass rush in a wide 9 and stuff like that. And we don't do that here. With our defensive front and stuff. And so when he figured that out, you could tell he's just getting more and more comfortable going in when he gets those chances and gets those reps, and he's taking full advantage of it. And man, it's nice to have him, because who's going to block him? If he long arms a guy, who's going to block him? And so, I'm glad that he's here. He also adds that competitive depth to the D line that we need, especially since Nelson went down for the year. So it's great to have him. I'm glad to compete with him, and he's super young, so he's going to be here for a while, hopefully.
From a defender's perspective, we've seen targeting seems to be a hard rule for people to figure out. As a guy, when you're going in to tackle someone, do you really know where to hit him at this point in time, or is it kind of a guessing game as to, if I hit him here, will he call? If I hit him here, if I do this, will it not get called? Things of that nature.
One thing I told Rico, because we all know he was ejected for targeting. He was just apologizing, talking about how he let us down, and we was all telling him, and I was telling him at least, like, bro, you was just playing hard and physical like you always do. You can't. Ain't nobody's gonna tell you to stop being like that, because when you get to thinking about it too much, that's when mistakes and missed tackles happen. So you got to just learn how to stay low to the strike zone and put your head in the right place and go from there.
And then one more for you that maybe isn't your team specific, but on some broadcasts we've seen, with the lack of crowd noise, some announcers have been mentioning how maybe that makes a hard count more effective for a quarterback. Is that something that, when there's the hard count, becomes more effective, or you guys have to be more disciplined, or does it not really change that much in terms of a defensive line perspective?
For me, it doesn't really change that much, because I played D-line for a long time now, and I've been taught forever to watch the ball, so I don't clappings and fake hut noises and everything like that. We'll talk about it on the sideline and be like, hey, the quarterback is clapping, they're right on cue of it, or he's yelling, they're right on cue of it. But other than that, I'm taught to look at that ball, so none of that stuff really fazed me at all.
Final last one for me. From week 1 to now, what's the biggest progression you guys have made as a defense?
Just continuing to work on the small mistakes, and like I said, we still have ways to go on it, but you could just tell that. And one thing I also could give praise about too is that our sideline is just way different than what it was last year. I mean, last year when people used to score on us, we'll come on the sideline, we'll all be fussing and pointing fingers and just getting into it with coaches and everything like that. It's not even close to what it was last year, and that's just a shout out to all the guys and the growth that we've made in this program and stuff. And that's just the goal that we're trying to continue to do, to just continue to build a program like that and keep the same momentum and the same energy going, because we all know that if we get scored on, it's not the end of the world, but when guys get to pointing fingers and get to yelling and screaming and stuff, that make other guys, fold and make more mistakes and stuff. And so I think we've done a great job thus far as, just keeping our composure on the sideline.
Go to Carlos Silva.
Tony, on that note, I know Coach Wells has kind of been asked a couple times as to how, I guess, to kind of change things in terms of close games. I guess, how have you kind of seen the culture change during your time there as Matt Wells is kind of going into his second season? And how have you kind of seen that affect you guys mentally and, like you said, kind of change the sideline or kind of change other things in the program?
It's been a drastic change. I mean, from last year, it was more of the off-the-field stuff that I was seeing that was like, you know what, this is why we can't win games. This is why we get into it at practice. This is why we get into it on the sideline during the games. And now this year is just completely different. We got more guys locked in thus far since I've seen it. I've only been here for 2 years. This is my second year here, but last year didn't see it. This year I'm starting to see guys more locked in and more dialed in and trusting the process and believing everything from the strength coaches to our position coaches, and just going on about it and making sure that they're doing the right thing so that we can have a better chance of winning these games. So I mean, that's just a shout out to the whole entire team, to the growth. And like I said, we're still trying to continue to build a program here, and so far it's starting to look good, at least for the off the field stuff.
All right, that'll do it for today. Thanks, Tony. Thank y'all.
Thanks,
We'll be
y'all.
back at 1 with the coordinators. Thank y'all. Thanks, Tony. Hey, can I give you one piece of advice? You do a really good job.
Say it again.
Today, I want to give you one piece of advice. You do